Hi Pisces, welcome to Carol's Universe, Tarot Readings from the Heart. Thanks ever so much, my loves, for joining me on your two weekly readings. So we're going to do from the 15th to the 31st of May 2020. For the reading this week, I'm using again my This Might Hurt Tarot. You know, I've got so many decks, around 250, and I have certain decks that I work with for personal clients and also YouTube. But this is the one that I keep coming back to. I've got to get a backup copy of this actually. I'm going to order one this week, but it's just such a good deck. I just really love this deck so much. If you're into tarot, and I mean, if you're learning tarot, if you read tarot, and you want a really good deck, I mean, it's not really pricey. I mean, it's kind of around in English money, £45. I think I paid for this one here, and you can get it from Little Red Riding Tarot, or I guess if you're in another country, you'll be able to get it from one of those bookstores or an online seller. But it's such a good deck. It really is. The quality is amazing. The imagery is amazing. It really is. Some people say that this deck is very cartoonish. I actually just adore it. I just can't stop working with it. Private clients, I just keep using it. It's really good. So yeah, we're going to use that, and we've also got the the Psychic Tarot of the Heart for spiritual advice, and also if we need any clarification, we're going to use the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot in a tin. Okay. For the reading this week, guys, we are doing something slightly different. We're doing a 7-area reading. We're just looking at the next 2 weeks as a whole, something unexpected that might arise, how you can stay grounded and balanced. Important emotion that you might feel during the next 2 weeks, Pisces. Something that will inspire you over the next 2 weeks. How your spirit is guiding you, or what advice spirit has for you. And finally, how to best support yourself over the next coming couple of weeks. Okay? Right, with that being said, let's get shuffling. Okay, Pisces, so we've got the cards down. Let's have a look at the next 2 weeks. Okay, I mean, you do have the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands can be, I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, okay? Ten of Wands can represent kind of burdens being carried, a heavy load. Sometimes this is somebody who feels overly stressed. Remember, it's a 10, so it's over. So sometimes this can be somebody who's overly stressed. But also with the Ten of Wands, remember, Wands are career related because their work, their career, that's what wands are. So some of you guys may be coping with several things. You may be coping with lots of work, because that's the Ten of Wands. When you got the Ten of Wands, there's just a lot of work to be done. So it may be the next 2 weeks. It's the next 14 days. It may be for some of you Pisces people, you've got a lot of stuff that you're dealing with, that you're coping with, work related, family related, friendship related, whatever the case might be. There is a lot of stuff there, but you know, the Ten of Wands, God never gives us anything that we can't bear. So even though there's a heavy load to be, to be carried and to be dealt with over the next couple of weeks, you know, this person is persevering and they are coping with it. The Ten of Wands can also mean the ending of a difficult stage, because it's the completion card. So really you're at the final lap of a situation here. So it may be in the next 2 weeks also, you're actually, something's coming to completion, and this might have been something that you've worked really, really hard towards. Something unexpected that may arise. Okay, the Four of Cups. So it may be that there's a rejection here. You may be turning something down, Pisces, or somebody may be turning you down for something, because Four of Cups means rejection. It means I don't want it. I'm not really interested in it. So something unexpected that might come up is that you may reject something, or somebody may reject something of you. Okay, and it may be, you know, if this is you and you're carrying a heavy load, you may be the one who says, actually, I don't think I can do this, that type of thing, because you've got too much on your plate. How can you stay grounded and balanced, especially with this Ten of Wands over the next sort of couple of weeks? Well, just take time to nurture yourself. The Queen of Cups, so your Pisces, Scorpio, Cancerian energy, the Queen of Cups energy. I think that you've got to take time to replenish your spirits with the Queen of Cups. A way to stay grounded and balanced with the Queen of Cups energy is probably to do something really creative, or to do something really spiritual that kind of, you know, elevates you from that Ten of Wands. If you're coping with a lot of work, or, you know, you're coping with work and family stuff, and there's just so many, you know, responsibilities with the Ten of Wands energy that you're carrying, Pisces, with that Ten of Wands, a way that you can stay grounded and balanced with that Queen of Cups is really just about kind of, you know, indulging in spirit. You know, maybe there's stuff that you like to do, like meditation could be a good thing through the Queen of Cups energy there, or perhaps reading a book could be a good thing through the Queen of Cups, or maybe singing or playing an instrument would be a way to wind down and just to kind of get yourself is it recalibrated like a car or something, rebalanced, or, you know, doing some painting with the Queen of Cups could be good, for example, or, you know, tapping into spirit with the Queen of Cups energy, or it could be a way to stay grounded and balanced. This might be a friend, someone that you're talking to, somebody who's giving you a little bit of a spiritual and emotional, you know, morale booster, that type of thing with the Queen of Cups energy showing there. Taking a bit of time out for yourself if you can. If you live by water or you live by the sea, taking a bit of time out, going down to the, you know, the river or the beach or whatever if you can, that type of thing. Just spending some time, you know, some well-deserved time on your own. But I think that, you know, with this being water and that being fire, the fire energy of the Wands means that there's a lot of stress going on. There's a lot of pressure going on with the Ten of Wands energy. But we find that if you want to kind of balance and ground yourself, you need a little bit more kind of water energy going on here, that kind of, because remember, water and fire don't really mix. So the Queen of Wands, because it's water, is likely to douse that energy there. So if you are feeling overly stressed in the next couple of weeks, do something that's going to douse that, you know, so something's going to eradicate basically the pressure, and this is something that you're going to do that's going to kind of just, you know, calm everything down, cool everything down, you know, relaxation with the Queen of Cups, meditation, Queen of Cups, painting, drawing, anything that just makes you feel kind of really relaxed and really at one with yourself with the Queen of Cups, anything that cools down that energy of the Ten of Wands, which is quite nice. So an important, when I say it's quite nice, I mean this is quite nice, not that. An important emotion that you'll feel this in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, look, you are going to feel kind of like with the Ten of Swords. I mean, it depends with the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords, that would make sense with that card there. Because the Ten of Swords can mean I feel just absolutely whacked. I'm just exhausted. I'm done. I'm finished. I can't do any more than that. But, you know, it's darkest. You know, it's darkest before the dawn, isn't it, with the Ten of Swords energy showing there, all right? And remember with the Tens, we're at the completion stage. So, you know, the energy around you over the next couple of weeks is that Ten of Wands. You know, you are dealing with, you know, quite a bit of responsibility. Some of you Pisces people are. There is some stress here. I'm not going to lie about it because that's the Ten of Wands. It may be because you've got a lot of work on, that type of thing. You may be dealing with children and work. You may be dealing with relationships and work. You might be dealing with trying to, you know, make everybody happy, or whatever the case is for you with that Ten of Wands. You are carrying a bit of a load there, and it may be that with the important emotion that you're feeling with the Ten of Swords energy, it depends. Ten of Swords can mean I feel just tired, you know, just absolutely done. The Ten of Swords can also mean really stressed, not just stressed, it can also mean acceptance as well. We're going to clarify that and ask what it means. All right, because the emotion with the Ten of Swords would just be, if you feel the Ten of Swords emotionally, because the emotional mixes in with the mental, so you feel quite overwhelmed with the Ten of Swords energy. Remember, you only need one sword to kill. This is overkill. So you may be feeling overkill with this Ten of Swords energy, like emotionally, like you may be feeling like you're overdoing it with the Ten of Swords energy. And that's, I'm going to ask why that's an important emotion for you to feel. Why is it? First of all, what do you mean that Pisces will feel the important emotion that they're going to feel is the Ten of Swords? What do you mean the emotion that they'll feel is the Ten of Swords? Two cards. Well, you've got the Tower. Yeah. So the Tower is kind of a breaking point. It's the card of anger and the card of kind of just losing it and losing control. The Ten of Swords. Yeah, and you've got the, well, that's not a great card. That's not a great combination, is it really, with the Five of Swords energy, because this is out and out war really with these cards. It's just out and out war with these cards, and both cards are Aquarius energy as well. And it's interesting, actually, we could read it in two ways, really. I mean, the Five of Swords, it is an Aquarius card, and the Tower is ruled by Uranus, one of the ruling planets of Aquarius. So both cards can actually represent freedom. But that Five of Swords is kind of, see, the thing is, it depends, because if I look at these cards and I look at the Tower and the Five of Swords, they're very reactionary cards. The Ten of Swords is not a reactionary card for me, not unless you're the person putting the knives in someone's back. If you feel the Ten of Swords, then you may be feeling put upon for example, with that Ten of Swords energy. So your emotion might be that you feel deflated with the Ten of Swords energy. And we're asking, well, what's it about? Well, it's about the Tower energy there and the Five of Swords. But neither one of these, they're very different for me than the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords emotionally is where one feels deflated. Or maybe you feel with the Ten of Swords that people are putting knives in your back. Because that's the only way I could really explain this. Because with the Tower and the Five of Swords, these are very reactionary cards. So when you've got the Tower is like anger and arguments and it's war. And then you've got the Five of Swords, another card about war and fighting back. And this is a very kind of volatile, very angry energy between both cards. Because I'm asking, well, what do you mean that Pisces feels the Ten of Swords? And I'm not unless Ten of Swords is kind of like a suppressed anger or something like that. Because it may be that with the Ten of Swords energy that you're feeling mentally really put upon. So maybe there's some anger here. Maybe this is suppressed anger. Because for me, the Tower and the Five of Swords, this is war. The Tower is ruled by Mars. And that's a war card there. That's the card about arguments and war and anger and frustration. And everything's kind of coming out. And you've got the Five of Swords energy showing here. So the Five of Swords is also an argumentative card as well. So you've got somebody who feels really angry with the Tower energy and wants to fight back and wants to hurt people. And I'm getting the impression here that maybe with the three cards put together, in a way, Pisces, that this is you kind of reacting in a very kind of angry way against the situation here, which is why it's really important for you to stay grounded via the Queen of Cups, which is just having that cool off period, because water cools you off. If you feel highly stressed with the Ten of Wands, you need a water card like a Queen of Cups who can kind of, who can kind of try and balance out that energy by doing things that cool you down. Okay, so doing things that relax you, for example, things that are not so stressful, things that kind of like, whether it's about, with the Queen of Cups, whether it's about putting your feet in a nice bowl of water and one of those feet things, soothing yourself, whether this is sitting near water or, whether this is meditating or whether this is kind of sunbath, whatever it is, it's cooling you down from that Ten of Wands, because you're emotionally, I think that but I think actually, the Tower and the Five of Swords, those cards are about letting off steam. So the Tower is letting off steam and the Five of Swords is getting kind of really angry. So with the Five of Swords, this could be you letting off steam with the Tower energy there. And with the Five of Swords, you may be telling family members or colleagues or whatever it is, go away, leave me alone. Because you're kind of, you're kind of abandoning people here. You're using the sword, and so the swords represent words, So some of you guys are letting off steam and you're being a little bit kind of nasty, because with the Ten of Swords here, the important emotion that you're feeling is you're just feeling kind of like, I'm done, I'm fed up, I'm just had enough. So there's this letting of steam and saying, I've had enough of this, because there's a lot of pressure here. And I wouldn't be surprised that if this Four of Cups is kind of like saying that something unexpected that might arise. It may be that you're unable to do certain things. There's certain things that usually you would do, but it may be that what's arising unexpectedly is for the first time you can't say yes to something. You can't do something for someone else potentially, or you can't take something else on because you've got all of this pressure to deal with, Pisces. Okay, and that might be why the important emotion that you're feeling this with the Ten of Swords energy is that you're just feeling like really fed up, because the Ten of Swords is one of those cards where it's like, I feel just fed up, I'm fed up, I've had enough, and it's all about you letting of steam and getting really kind of just saying, just get out of my face, just because that's what he's saying. Five of Swords person isn't always, when you do tarot, you'll learn how to read cards and adapt them to a 21st century understanding of them. Five of Swords isn't always about somebody being a bitch, just for the sake of being a bitch. You might be lashing out at somebody here because these two people might be in the wrong. It doesn't always mean that this geezer here is in the wrong. It might be that these people here are in the wrong. And for me, both cards, what kind of the common denominator between both cards are showing kind of a very kind of, not a nice reaction, basically. So it just feels like the important emotion you feel, but it feels like it's important for you to let off steam, because it feels like you're actually kind of carrying a lot there. So the important emotion that you'll feel is to let off steam. Let's have a look at the next one. So something that will inspire you, though, this week. the King of Wands. So this could be somebody who's in a position of power, for example, a person who's in a position of authority, leadership with the King of Wands energy, somebody who's a leader, somebody who's quite charismatic. This could be a public speaker, for example, with the King of Wands energy. This could be an entrepreneur with the King of Wands energy. This could be your husband, it could be your boyfriend, it could be your son. I think that somebody is going to inspire you, Pisces, because I think that somebody is going to give you inspiration via words and via action. So I actually feel that this person may inspire you to take a particular action, for example. So if you're feeling really stressed out, for example, by work with the Ten of Wands in the next 2 weeks, and the important emotion that you feel is one of just feeling really just fed up with that Ten of Swords and almost just lashing out because you're just tired of all of the stress that's on you here, Pisces. It may be that what inspires you this week is a person here who says, well, why don't you direct that into something more positive? You know, why don't you direct that anger into something more positive? Or this might be somebody, because the King of Wands is usually something to do with the media, for example. So, you know, when you get those adverts for Amazon or, you know, to set up a business on Amazon or eBay or just an online business or something like that, you know, this could be somebody that you see on an advert. So it may be an advertisement, for example, because remember, the King of Wands works in media, he works in PR, he works in advertising. So it may be an advertisement that actually inspires you maybe to do something different or to do something about this situation here, especially if you found that you're being swamped by work and you can't agree to do certain things that you wanted to agree to doing because of this energy here. And what is Spirit's advice for you? Right, so it's an interesting one that card should show up, but it would make perfect sense, doesn't it? Because you have the power to juggle, you have the power to multitask, but I think that the advice is that you have to prioritize what you're doing with the Two of Coins, because the Two of Coins represents the need to prioritize and the need to be flexible as well. So I think the advice is for you on this, to avoid kind of like, you know, and it is an important, the important emotion, I think this shows as an important emotion for Pisces to feel, because it shows that you're not burying everything down. You know, that Ten of Wands there, when somebody gets really stressed out by the Ten of Wands, it can actually get a little bit too much, because what happens is that you're being kind of like really burdened by, you know, all of this responsibility, all of this work, so much so that everything starts to build up, and then we get that tower moment there. You know, but it's good if you can kind of let off some steam, because if you don't let it off, what's happening is with the Ten of Wands, the more stress that you get with the Ten of Wands energy, and the more that you don't express it. So say you've got a Ten of Wands that's building pressure, and then you've got a Tower reverse where you're kind of suppressing all of that stuff. What's going to happen is that you're going to internalize it. You're going to internalize it quite a bit, and that's where absolute depression comes in. The good thing with this Ten of Swords, in the emotion that you feel, is that you're actually letting this out. Okay, because it's good to let things out, because if you don't let it out, what happens is that you start internalizing it, and if you start internalizing it, then that's where depression starts, and we don't want that. So I think that what the universe is saying to you is that the Spirit is saying to you is that you've got to find a way that you can kind of work with what's going on. You have to find a way that you can try and be a little bit flexible and adapt to what's going on, because it may be at the moment that this is all there is at the moment. So instead of kind of saying, you know, yeah, important emotion is to lash out a little bit and to, you know, feel really down with that Ten of Swords and to just kind of like have that bit of a blowout on it. But I actually feel here that the Spirit is trying to say, okay, that's fine, but, you know, you don't want to do that around the boss or something like that. So the important thing is really to try and work out some form of a schedule with the Two of Coins energy. Work out how you can incorporate, you know, both things, work, family, you know, love, children, whatever the case might be, because you're carrying a lot of stuff here, Pisces. So you need to work out a schedule, and you need to try and find a way that you can keep those balls in the air. But the only way that you get to keep all of these things in the air, Pisces, is by working out a schedule and trying to be a little bit more compromising on this thing, because it may be that at the moment this is the way that things are. And sometimes, you know, as you know, what we would all like to do is, you know, not be in this situation and to have things a little bit more easier. But the thing is that sometimes things are just what they are, and there are times when we just have to deal with what is. and the way that we deal with what is, as hard as it is, and as much as we don't want to have to do that, Pisces, is by being flexible with the Two of Coins, and is by working out a timetable, by working out a schedule with the Two of Coins energy, by learning how to adapt to the status quo and to the situation as it is. You know, the Ten of Wands might be that you have to do work. You may have to go out to work, you know, or you work from home, whichever. You may have to look after children. You may have to buy food for elderly parents. You may have to buy food for the family. You might have to cook. And there's going to, you know, if you've got all of this pressure here, Pisces, there's bound at some point, I think there's bound to be some form of a blowout on that. And it's necessary, because you don't want to internalize it, or else that's where depression starts. But I feel that it's really important also, amidst all of that, that Spirit wants to guide you and says, fine, we get that, we understand, it's better out rather out than in here, but you can't keep doing that, you know. So you've got to work out a schedule, and you've got to work out how to kind of flex things, you know, flex on this situation. And finally, how can you best support yourself during the next couple of weeks, Pisces? Through friends or family, whether they are living with you or whether they are on the other side of the computer screen, you know. Through friends and family, the Three of Cups, it's through your nearest and dearest. It's through the people that you're connected to, the people that you love, the people that you care about, the people that you share a connection with. That's how you need people to support you. You know, and whether it's your husband, whether it's your wife, whether it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whether they're near, whether they're far, whether you're, you know, talking to them over Zoom or, you know, FaceTime or, you know, Messenger, whatever the platform might be, or whether they're in the house with you, you need support. So the best way that you can support yourself is by having people around you that you love. And also the best way to support yourself is by having a bit of fun with those people as well. So for me, you know, I live on my own, and during this time I've spent a long time without seeing my own family. I've just been on my own, and it has been difficult at times. And I've been very lucky to have my business and to do the work that I do, because that's been keeping me really happy and really occupied. I don't know what I'd do without it. I'd go absolutely crazy. I've got hundreds of books and cards, and I work with my books and my cards every day. But there are times when I do need my family. So, you know, 2-3 times a week I'll hook up on on Messenger with my family, and we all sit down and we all have a drink and a chat and a laugh. We'll probably play a quiz this week, that type of thing. It's just the best way that you can support yourself is through friendship, family, love, and just being able just to let your hair down, no matter how near or far you are from people. Because everybody, when we're going through times where we're just kind of like, oh my goodness, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I've got the other to do, I'm going to have a blowout now, I just can't cope, which is better out than in, by the way. The really important thing to do is to make sure that you have a support network around you. So the best way that you can support yourself is through a support network of people showing here. And also I feel that the way to stay kind of connecting in with that, the way to stay grounded and balanced is through, you know, doing things that will cool down. The Queen of Cups is going to cool down the pressure of that Ten of Wands. Remember, water disperse, you know, gets rid of fire. So you need this Queen of Cups energy. Do something creative, relax, meditate. If you've got animals, play with your animals. If you've got kids, play with your kids, you know. If you do spiritual work, do your spiritual work. If you're working on anything psychological, look into that, because she's a psychological type of a woman here. She's spiritual. She's a tarot reader. She's a medium. Work on your art, that type of thing, you know, work on your craft, that type of thing, with the Queen of Cups energy showing there. You know, maybe some of you guys want to be helping, you know, if it's to do with kind of giving a service to others, maybe you want to do that, for example, away from whatever this is. You know, if it's another person, maybe you want to tap into their vibe and see how they can help you. But there's all sorts of ways to resolve pressure, and I think that, you know, it's a good thing to focus on that over the next couple of weeks, Pisces. Let's have a look at the spiritual advice then in 2 cards for Pisces over the next couple of weeks. Universe, Spirit, what is the spiritual advice you have for Pisces over the next couple of weeks in 2 cards, please? Show me. So, oopsie daisy. Right, that showed up for Scorpio, I think. Change your focus. There's a need to change your focus here, okay? So, dedicated effort. So, with dedicated effort. And also, this is, what is this? This is the, this always looks like the 3 of Pentacles here, but it's actually the 8 of Coins. Okay, so maybe you need to change your focus in terms of how you work, because the Eight of Coins is all about working, okay, the services that you provide. And the Five of Cups is all about, on this particular deck, changing the way that you see things, you know, changing the way that you experience and feel things. So there's a need to change your focus in terms of how you work. All right, so this is where this comes in: scheduling, being more flexible, compromising, changing things up as well. The Two of Coins represents changing and switching things up, switching things up, you know, adapting to things, making sure that things maybe can adapt to your time, or, you know, making sure that you've got this schedule where you're doing whatever you're needing to do, but you've also got time for yourself. So change your focus in terms of, and also make a dedicated effort as well to change your focus. Because I think that once you change your focus on how whatever this Ten of Wands can be achieved, okay, through switching things up, changing things around, scheduling, flexibility, it's going to make it a lot easier on yourself, and maybe then that could probably be avoided. All right, that is your reading, Pisces, for the next couple of weeks, 15th to the 31st of May. I'd like to say thanks ever so much for joining me on Carol's Universe. If you'd like your own private reading, click on the link in the comment section or the end screen. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.